That brings us to item 11 on our agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the September 15th board retreat. Do I have a motion? Ms. Snipes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the September 15th, 2023 board retreat.
Do I have a second? Mr. Hogan. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? All opposed? All right, that motion carries 5 with 2 abstaining. The next is item 12, approval of the minutes of the October 9th, 2023 board work session. Do I have a motion? Mr. Hogan.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the October 9th, 2023 board work session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Snipes, seconded. Do I have any discussion? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion carries 7-0. And that brings us to number 13, which is approval of the minutes of the October 23rd board meeting. Mr. Hogan.
We'll make the motion to approve the minutes of the October 23rd, 2023 board meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Snipes, seconds. Any discussion? Ms. Huddle.
I didn't see a vote on the adjournment. And maybe I'm looking at the wrong, or I got a short copy.
Oh,
but
yeah, I see what, unless
there was
there was
no-
another page to that,
Yeah,
it looks like there shows the motion and the second, but it doesn't have the votes. All right, so we just need to,
I'll move that we amend the minutes of the October 23rd, 2023 board meeting to show that the vote to adjourn was 7 in favor, 0 against.
Mr. Hogan seconds that motion. Any discussion regarding Ms. Huddle's motion? And so we'll vote on Ms. Huddle's motion to amend. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0, so that will bring us to the original motion as amended. All in favor to approve minutes? All opposed? Mr. Scully, were you in favor? All right. So that motion, I know that was confusing. That motion was carried 7-0. Apologize for that confusion. And that brings us to public participation. Before we get started, the board welcomes and encourages public participation. We respectfully ask that you adhere to the procedures provided in Board Policy BEDH, public participation at meetings. Your comments should be limited to 3 minutes and must remain on either the topic noted on your sign-in form or a listed agenda item. Questions asked during public participation will be handled in accordance with Board Policy BEDH. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Katie Harris is here to speak about special education.
When you have a child with a communication disorder, you function every day on an enormous amount of faith. You pray that every person who encounters your child will consistently operate in the best interests of him, knowing full well that if he is mistreated or hurt, he may not be able to communicate that to us. We do a lot of going along to get along because of our son's vulnerability. In May, we were excited to see that the budget for 23-24 included funding for a board-certified behavioral analyst. The budget was approved in June, however, the position didn't post until late July. This position is still vacant. Clearly, the district has established there is a need for these services. What is D5 currently doing now that they have identified the need, yet the position remains unfilled? At the same time, the administration made a case that based on the new state funding model, D5 should focus recruitment of special education students because they are funded at a rate of 2.6. In the 6 years we've been in D5, the district has employed 3 staff in special services. Looking at similar districts, Pickens County serves 17,000 students. Their district team consists of 9 staff and 1 BCBA. Rock Hill District serves 16,000 students. Their district team consists of 17 staff members. D5 has 3. A neighboring district, Lexington 1, serves 27,000 students. Their district team is 60 staff members and 3 BCBAs, and they currently contract out because their BCBA loads are too full. My son has always been in a self-contained classroom. 6 years in D5, he's attended 3 schools, 3 total classrooms because they're multi-year rooms. He's had 6 different teachers. In May of 2022, I received an email from the school inviting us to an awards ceremony where he would receive an award. I attended. My son did not. His classmates did not. Did we file a least restrictive environment violation? No. We went along to get along. But did we email the entire board and the administration to share our experience and ask if we could work with them on true inclusion moving forward? Yes. 1 board member responded. The school admin's response was that it was the teacher's decision. Administrators, if your teacher ever tells you their classroom cannot attend an event, they are asking for more support. This was not the teacher's fault. The admin is advocating on behalf of the teacher. The district administration is non-responsive. Who is advocating for our students? Our D5 story is that in 6 years, our son has lost a whole grade level in reading. His math skills have diminished. His functional behavior is significantly reduced. Please tell me what special needs family would choose this for their child?
Christopher Harris is here to speak about students with disabilities.
It's hard to follow the wife. Are you ready, Freddie? Okay, good. As a concerned parent, I am compelled to address the critical issue of my son's safety at school due to reoccurring incidents of assault by another student in his classroom. My son, who has autism, who attends a self-contained classroom, has experienced such assaults 4 times in 60 days of school, each triggered by his expression of noises that another student with special needs found distressing. This distressing pattern raises not only immediate safety concerns for my son, but also broader questions about the adequacy and of the educational environment for students with disabilities. In 2014, the U.S. Department of Education issued a critical guidance about bullying through a Dear Colleague letter, particularly emphasizing the protection of students with disabilities. This guidance underscores the understanding that the student's disability, in cases where it triggers adverse behavior in another student, warrants intervention to ensure a safe and inclusive educational environment. This directive is grounded in the Individuals with Disabilities Act, the IDEA Act, and the Free Appropriate Public Education, FAPE provision, both pivotal in safeguarding the rights of students with disabilities. The repeated assaults on my son stemming from his autistic expressions underscore the urgency for comprehensive behavioral interventions as part of his IEP. The guidance provided by the U.S. Department of Education explicitly recognizes the needs to address behavioral challenges that arise due to a student's disability. Therefore, the denial of request services such as a presence of a registered behavioral technician with a board-certified analyst, a BCBA guidance, raises significant concerns regarding the school district's compliance with federal regulations. Behavioral interventions overseen by a trained professional like an RBT with the BCBA guidance are crucial in mitigating instances of aggression and ensuring a safe learning environment for students like my son. These interventions can be designed to address the specific triggers and responses associated with autism, promoting more understanding and supportive atmosphere within the classroom. BCBAs are medical professionals. They do not need a teaching license. They are medical professionals, just like a nurse. You don't have to have a license, a teaching license to work in the school district. We have proven with data by incorporating proper behavioral interventions, our son education plan, the school not only adheres to federal law, but also takes a proactive stance in fostering an inclusive environment. I'll leave you with just this. I have 30 seconds left. I'll leave you with this. Our district is ranked 2nd and 3rd, depending upon U.S. News and World Report or niche.com. We do a great job. We're 2nd in the state. But our state is ranked 42nd in the nation. At some point in time, we have to step up and look at our students with disabilities and help them too. Thank you.
Kathy Huddle is here to speak about the board needing to address policies.
I know this is highly unusual. I didn't This is not something I would normally do. I've been on the board 3 years and never found the need to speak at public speaking. I'm speaking today as a member of the community. The SCSBA says that one of the duties of a board is to establish district policies and guidelines for the effective operation of the district. I have emailed 5 times, and I've made a motion once in public session to address policies that really need to be addressed. These include bullying, payments for associations, supplemental materials used in instruction, the approval of curriculum, fund balance, and library books. These policies, all except for one piece of library books, have not been addressed in over 10 years. And there's a lot of changes, as we've just heard. I looked at what we've done in the last year, and we have voted on 17 different policies in the last year. However, 16 of those came from the administration. Our board did not listen to our parents and our community and bring forth any policy changes. This is not the first time we've heard about bullying or special needs or library books or the curriculum. We can't ignore this. We can't count on the state. Yes, Ellen Weaver's looking at it, but she even said she believes in local control. The policies wouldn't exist if they weren't ours to make decisions about. And the one policy that this board has voted on that didn't come from the administration in the last year actually came from the policy committee, the last meeting of the policy committee of the former board, and that was DIE on audits. These things matter. They matter to our community. It takes a lot of guts for somebody to get up here and speak. So when they call us, they email us, they expect to be heard. That's another SCSBA edict for boards. Encourage strong relationships with parents in the community to support students and facilities. And if you think that library books and other things don't matter, and I'm going to put this in the minutes, there's a study that came out in September of 2023, and it says, among adolescent males, studies have found associations between exposure to sexually explicit media and problematic sexual behavior in the form of sexual coercion and harassment perpetration. We have got to quit putting our hands over our ears and our eyes and listen to our community and address these policies. Yes, it's not easy, but it's our job and it's what we signed up for. Thank you.
Kim Murphy is here to speak about the facilities study and providing it to the public.
Good evening. At the last board meeting, there was a presentation by McMillan Posden Smith, and based on their research and touring of schools, they prepared an extensive report to be used in formulating a plan for maintaining our facilities, needed renovations, determining options of whether schools have the capability of classroom additions to avoid redrawing attendance lines and uprooting children from their home schools, or options such as purchasing portables or temporary enrollment freezes, and if costly new schools are necessary and would be the best option if classroom capacity is necessary. With the potential of a bond referendum in November next year, it is critical to not only provide the reports and documents to the board so they can assess the needs, the options, and their costs, but also to provide them to the public, whom you want to trust you with their children and their money. Through the Freedom of Information Act, I requested documents and reports which had been discussed at that board meeting and had been given to the board just prior to the October 23rd board meeting. I think it was sent by email. You may have had some on your desk, not exactly sure. I did my request, wrote it up during the meeting, just following the presentation. According to the Freedom of Information Act, Section 30-4-3, paragraph D, documents provided to the board are to be made upon request during business hours, be made available to the public without a formal written request. However, I did a formal written request. The district did not respond to my October 23rd request until November 7th. And I was told that I would not receive the document, or that I would only be able to receive them within 30 days. When I raised the concern with the board member that I did not receive the documents the day following my request, and it might be 30 days before I received the information, the board member communicated my concern to the district administration. The response from the administration was that the information I was requesting contained a safety and security assessment, which is subject to redaction, and that it would still be 30 days before I could receive the information. However, during the presentation at that board meeting, there was extensive discussion on facility needs other than the safety and security that I think should be provided to me and to the public upon the FOIA section. The information should be readily available according to FOIA, and again, I request the documents. Thank you very much.
That concludes public participation.